Welcome to another episode of Investing in Intellectual Property with Dave. Today we have a very special guest with us. This gentleman has quite the resume, from All-American at Michigan State to Super Bowl champion with the New York Giants to a recent Hall of Fame inductee at Michigan State University. Please help me welcome the Greg Jones. What's going on, G?
I appreciate the intro, man.
Man,
Made me sound like amazing, bro.
Hey, look, I've been working on that for about 2 days now, man. So I'm glad I was
That's
able
good.
to nail it and
It
get some
came
good
up
praise
great.
from you.
That was good. That was good.
And we have a number of things to talk about today, and
Right.
I know, again, I know we know time here, be conscious of the time.
Mhm.
But again, from you recently being inducted into the Hall of Fame at Michigan
Yeah.
State to
Yeah.
your Super Bowl with the New York Giants, to back in your playing days at Michigan State University, and the accolades and the honors that you were able to receive or earn, I should say, from there.
Mhm.
But offline, we were kind of talking about the NIL, and I wanted to start with that
Yeah.
because recently here in Michigan, high school students, the legislature, they
Mhm.
just ruled that high school players can get NIL deals, things like that. And I wanted to get your thoughts on it in terms of,
Yeah.
again, I know we have the college athletes and they can get NIL deals, but I wanted to get your thoughts on high school athletes being able to participate
Yeah.
in NIL, at least in Michigan, and then there was other, 20 other states, Texas,
Yeah.
Ohio, sure,
Mhm.
Florida, somewhere in there
Yeah.
as well.
Mhm.
So I wanted to get your thoughts on NIL kind of as it comes to the high school level.
I think, well, and when you talk about the high school kids, it's going to give them a little bit of the taste of the action for what they will happen when they get to college. So what I mean by that is, right, when you get to college, and one, it's all about performance.
Absolutely.
So, what these young guys are doing are starting to cash in on their performance. And at the same time, the school is going to get somebody that's going to represent them the right way, if obviously the school is obviously part of it. But when they start getting, they're going to get the taste of business. I mean, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be for everybody. I think that's the number one thing that I would start off with, is just telling even some of the kids I've worked with in the past that, like, just because you're eligible doesn't mean it's going to
Right,
happen
right,
that
right.
you're going to get NIL money
Yep.
if you're not, one, like, showing up on time. Because I tell guys all the time, like, it's one thing for you to, like, ball out, but if I can't get you to be on class on time, and that's the one time that a person, or any company or business person is like, I want to go after this kid to represent my company, and I want to pay him for it, and I can't find them, like, that's tough.
Right.
Like, bro, like, what's going on, and I think that's where they are going to start to enter in the business world a little bit earlier
Yep.
than they expect to. I think a lot of, like, kids in general expect NIL just to be wake up one day and to be a boatload of money at the
Right,
end.
right, right,
It's
right.
not like that at all. No NIL is going to happen when you're on the bench, and no NIL is going to happen when, again, you're not in school. No NIL is going to happen when you're bad in the community or in jail, or, you know what I mean, your name is in a negative way on the headline on ESPN or any local outlet. I think those are some of the things I think about. I'm also thinking about my own
Yeah,
kids.
for sure.
Um,
Seems like it's
having
some
the boys.
accountability though,
Huge,
that you're saying you want to
huge.
bring to these high
Yes.
school as well as collegiate
Yeah.
athletes,
Yeah.
as opposed to thinking that, hey, we're just going to wake up and get all this money. It's like, no, you have to have these different boxes you called it earlier that you have to check off,
Mhm.
which can add to the accountability as opposed to
Yeah.
not having any accountability, which
Yeah.
I think maybe long term, at least that aspect of it will help out. So it seems like you're a big fan of the NIL.
Yes.
I always look at it from the money standpoint in terms of the ability to change these kids' lives, not
Yes.
only because most of them are not going to go to the NFL. They're not going to be
Right.
fortunate, such as yourself, to go to the NFL to win a Super Bowl to kind of play
Yeah.
in the league or whatnot. But at least the way I look at it, it seems like uh, I don't know. I'm a big investor, so I like to
Yeah.
invest in things, and man, it seems like it's an opportunity for those kids to be able to invest. We think about the what Deion Sanders' son, as well as Bronny James, where okay, those are the upper echelons where they're getting millions of dollars a year with their NIL valuation, which obviously most people, most athletes are not going to get that. But even again, from high school all the way up to college, if you are able to get maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars over that time span, I mean, you can really invest that in when life after football or whatever. I mean, you can have it set up nicely in terms of some investments. So I guess what do you think about like that aspect of it as far as the kids investing and maybe should invest or having to invest with the NIL money as opposed to just blow it and coming to campus and Bentleys and stuff like that when it's like, man, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's pretty layered, man. I guess I would start with this, and to your point about investing, um, they themselves as athletes, male and female, one have to take the first step and do what they can to invest in themselves so that the product that they put on the field,
Sure.
right, brings in the
Absolutely.
value that they want, especially when they're trying to monetize
Yep.
their brand and their logo. So that's the really the number one investment. And then two, I think, what happened to me, which I would never want to happen to anybody else, is that my jersey was on back order from being sold for 2 years in between 2009 and 2010.
Really?
Really, and I never made one, and I never got $1
Crazy.
from it, right? But Nike made their money, the Big Ten made their money, Michigan State made their money, and I think that is so that's kind of kind of rewinding back. That's kind of what started it, was that people walk around with your jersey, your likeness, you know what I mean, all over, and not getting $1 from it. I think that's tough, and it can happen in high school, and I'm pretty sure like we talked about earlier with a market like a Texas or in California, which is one of those schools, like any one of those schools where you got a big market, or any one of those places, excuse me, where you got a big market, like, and somebody can like see that, take your likeness, right, remix it, put their own spin to it, still your face, still your number, and they're making thousands of dollars, which you should get a piece of. Don't get me wrong, that person put an effort to get your name out there, but you yourself should get a piece of that. And there's a bunch of stories out there. I mean, I have a buddy I play with in the Canadian Football League. Same thing happened to him when he was in Hawaii. He walked into a restaurant and his whole face is on a mural inside the restaurant.
That's crazy.
And got $0 from it. And so, and same thing with me. I was on billboards at Michigan State, all over. I've been on cover of Sports Illustrated. I've been on a lot of those different things and gotten $0 from it. I think that's where, the conversation has turned. That's why I'm such a big fan of it. Not like I'm hoping one day, which I don't ever think we will. They're not about to retro date no checks anytime soon, maybe. But as we talk about the kids, though, yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I do think they should be accountable for their actions. I think that should be worked out as they start to govern. I think right now they're trying to see what's going to happen, but I think eventually, though, they're going to start to govern and see what's possible there to get them accountable.
And this is an interesting question, and you brought it up. What do you think? And I'm not saying that they're going to retroactively apply this to the prior years. But what do you think your NIL evaluation would have been at Michigan State? Because again, you are All-American, you're All Big Ten.
Yeah.
What do you think you would have? Look, and I remember, we were teammates at Michigan State, and I remember Greg Jones. He's in I think it was an Astro van.
Back in the van, back in the van. Yes, and again, my first car.
Most athletes, I mean, it's like humble, but beginnings where you getting that scholarship check and you're trying to send out money home to the parents, and you're not really making it like that. But getting a chance to kind of really live a life where you're not like struggling, especially you're making all these people money, as you mentioned. So what do you think your NIL evaluation would have been, number one? And then what do you think you would have done with that money?
Well, I know that for one, helping at the time we got to Michigan State as a freshman 07, we hadn't been to a bowl game in like 4 or 5 years, something like that. And leading my team in tackles for all 4 years.
Crazy.
So I think I would have been in the 6 figures for sure, if not 7.
Per year, do you think, over time? Or
I think over time it would have amounted to high 6 figures, maybe 7 over time, which is, and I say, and again, I bring that up because it's the value I brought to the team, right? And then what I would have done with that money, I think it was tough, like you said, getting those calls from my mom and my dad, and them not having them struggling to make the ends meet. And so like that would have been like the first thing, and then the next thing would have been definitely like finding ways to invest in. Because I remember there's the hotel that was just built on Grand River, the nice one. I remember talking to Tone, one of our former teammates, and telling him like, man, whoever built on this gonna make it. You know what I mean? And at the time, it was landlocked with the church and all that stuff. I remember because I looked into it, I was just curious, and now they got a hotel there, right? And so like those are some of the things that like to invest in. You know what I mean? And some stuff as well too. Uh, but yeah, just putting it away for that rainy day whenever that time comes, or not, or when you have a kid or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I would took care of myself in the sense of transportation and making sure I'm eating good, because a scholarship at that time did not provide what it does now. I mean, now these guys have so many more meals to go after that they get just given to them, stuff they can take home. We didn't have any of that stuff, So I I think now, like, yeah, it'd been a lot different though. But that was one of the things I would start off with though. Definitely want to start my own brand, 10 million%,
And,
10
and,
million
and,
percent.
and that's where I was going to go with this thing, because again, the name of the podcast is Investing in Intellectual Property with Dave. And as an IP attorney who does trademarks
Yes,
and
sir.
patents and things like that,
Hmm.
and that's what I'm thinking about first and foremost is the brand. You think of a Marshawn Lynch who got Beast Mode and
Yeah.
some of these other brands
Hmm.
that, man, just being able, aside from doing these deals with uh, uh companies
Hmm.
and these institutions, just being able to have your own brand, get it trademarked, selling merchandise, that could have been a big thing. Whereas as opposed to somebody's walking into like you're walking into a restaurant or the stadium and you're seeing Greg Jones jerseys, you're seeing whatever brand that
Right.
you've created, they're wearing that apparel, whether it's a t-shirt, whether it's a cap, just being able to capitalize off that. So, and I like to really implore just the athletes coming up, whether you're in high school, whether you're in college, as you're getting this NIL money,
Hmm.
think about trademarks. Think about how can I build my brand around
Hmm.
my NIL, my name, image, and likeness,
Yeah.
and really take advantage of it for this time period. Because again, you're talking about 4 years, and if you're starting in high school, you may have another 1 or 2 years, so you can be at this thing for 5, 6, maybe 7 years if you redshirt. Now you can, 7 figures over that
Hmm.
time period. Man,
Yeah.
you're talking about investing that, and you setting yourself up nice as far as maybe having $100,000, uh, whatever in passive income by the
Hmm.
time uh, your playing days are over. Which, man, that's just think if you had an extra 100 grand coming in just based on something that you did back in high school and
I know.
college. That's not including things that you're doing now, man. You're talking about generational wealth, setting yourself
Man.
life, man. That's
Right. And then I think too, man, I mean, these guys are getting the multiplier with social media. We didn't I remember, like, I didn't have a Twitter until after we won the Super Bowl, and Benny Fowler uh like begged me to do it, and I was like, man, I'm not doing it. I don't want to, all that stuff. Um and time where most athletes were trying to, some not hide, but not put out everything what they're doing in the streets and out in the world. But now that is completely reversed, and everybody's showing everything. Sometimes, in some cases, too much, right? And so, like, I think that's another part of, like you said, your platform, your brand that can be built and still bring, gives you an opportunity. And you talked about Beast Mode. I was just watching Beast on Shannon's
podcast.
podcast, and he had all his stuff,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
everything,
Yeah.
right? And I'm starting to get, we got a clothing line as well too now built, and some other businesses that were still going, So like I had to start these things earlier with a bigger platform, with the use of social media, like who knows, right? On top of right getting monetary value from NIL, like yeah, 10 million%, et cetera, hit. That's why I said that I'm happy now that it's going to happen, because for my son or anybody else's kid to have opportunity, they should have the opportunity. They shouldn't. I've never been one of those guys. Well, if we didn't do it, they should have it. That's ridiculous. In my mind, I think it should progress. I just think that it's up to us to really help them,
Yeah.
right? Show them the way, so that way they're not a headline. There's a one basketball player I liked a lot. He's got in trouble. You know what I mean? I say that in the sense I'm like, dude, like somebody would have put, helped them out, put underneath their arm and say, look, man, like, can you come with me so we can show you how to
Right.
do these things, and
Right.
I'll check in with you on a weekly basis. And I think that's, you get 52 weeks a year. You know what I mean? Those 52 check-ins could have been invaluable.
Sure.
And obviously we just saw the Johnny Manziel on Netflix, and it's the same thing, right? Like somebody would take you and say, hey, look, you know what I mean? Here's what's going on. Don't get me wrong, I know obviously people try, but had it been more, I think it would have been a lot beneficial for him though. But yeah, man, I say all that because I want to see it progress. I want to see us as athletes start to have great headlines and start to really dive into
Right.
our own platform, our own logos, our own branding more and more and more. No matter who's telling you to stop, or just as long as you are staying focused. You have seen some athletes, like I said before, not stay focused, but as long as they are sheltered the right way and guided the right way, I think that's
No, nice, nice. No, and I 100% agree with you on that. And again, no, I think even and you have done a good job, which we'll talk about here, as far as even though you didn't get a chance to take advantage or the NIL wasn't around
Mhm.
back when we were playing, just even after the college days, being able to kind of parlay that into some good things. Again,
Yeah.
you're running a flag football league right now.
Yeah,
And
dude. Yeah.
I want to, can you talk a little bit about how that came about and you maybe being
Yes.
able to leverage your stardom, your star power
Yeah.
of being Greg Jones into that situation?
Yeah. So we got like 4 locations, I think, right now. I'm working on 5. Um, we we originally were I was really just doing training,
Okay.
and I was just real passionate, and that was on a whim as well. And I say a whim meaning, hey, can you come out, Greg, and just like work on them for a couple of things? And that went well. And then one person's like, what can we do? It's more consistent. And then it became transaction and all that stuff. To where now I have over about 16 players playing college football now. And then from that, it kind of turned into what I want for myself and for my kids one day with a flag football organization. We just partnered with Gridiron Football, USA Flag, and Battle as well too, which is, I think, Battle's like the up and coming Nike. They're starting to make shoes and all that stuff too. So we just partnered with them, and then now we have our own clothing line by day by night. And so it's kind of like led into all these different things, and it's been kind of cool because, like you said before, like all after playing, 3 in the NFL, 4 in the CFL, and getting to see what was good and bad about having your own brand and your own different entities that are bringing in income, it's been nice to like understand like what this can do. And now I'm getting into a little more investing as we talked about the other day, but with Diddy. But yeah, man, I'm definitely like I start to understand and see what the power of like money working for itself, and as we branch into real estate now too, yeah, it's definitely getting very exciting. And I think too, like it, because it's different, NFL, they give you the 401k and all that stuff. That's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I still think it's still more exciting. I think investing can be exciting at this stage when like you can actually see it work and see it grow. I've really enjoyed that. It's been really cool seeing that happen, and then the investment, like I said before, the investment in yourself is like that. Like somebody wants to pay you for something I did, almost over a decade
Yeah,
ago,
for sure.
and to kind of relive those moments with people. It's been fun. You know what I mean? I think that's what's great about these conversations is that it's never a burden on me. Now, obviously, like with 3 kids and a wife, like I'm always on the move, like everybody else. Any other family man out there,
Right,
like
right.
we always on the move. But it's not a burden at all. I think that's one thing cool. One thing that's cool about the opportunity to go and speak, and whether I'm speaking at schools or whatever the case may be, it's always like and really fun and to relive those things, and to kind of really inspire some of the youth and even some adults, young adults that are still like, dude, like I still got that dream, that hope. But I'm not digress too much though. But yeah, man, that's kind of where it started from. It started from just literally going to train,
Yeah.
and then the train led to the lead led to some tournaments, and it just kind of been going on from there and on, man. So yeah, I mean, now I'm trying to work on getting my own facility one day.
And
It's my goal right now, man.
this
So
flag football league is massive. How many teams do you have? How many, just players do you have within that your flag football
yes, yeah.
organization?
At each location, we're averaging anywhere between 200 or 300 kids in each location. So
You are saying, are they spread out at each locations across the
yes,
state of
across
Michigan?
the state of Michigan right now. we're working on some things outside the state, but as of right now, so about a little under 1,000 kids each year that are in and out of our program, that have gone on to do great things and learned, and obviously I'm still, I coach tackle football, so I think one thing I tell people, and there are some stats out there that young starting tackle young, and I'm not saying they're wrong. They're stats. They're numerical facts. I get that, but there's also right on the other side of the coin where if you're not ready to go, but your son, and now even your daughter wants to get ahead of the game, like you need to start a little bit earlier. I think flag is just that bridge to kind of help carry that, and
Right.
and honestly, I love it too. Just for people that don't know whether they're like a lacrosse or they're a baseball, but they still know the game. It's still fun, and I'm working on putting the events together for adults as well too. Right now, I'm kind of focused on just more of the elementary kids from pre-K all the way going to 8th grade, but eventually, as we get more adults, you know what I mean. I want to, because I think what I'm working on is just to have it where you can come in, not drop your kid off, but your kid can play, and then you play right after or before one of the two. I think would be a real fun idea. But just that's kind of the that's phase 4, 5, 6, from here. But eventually, as we get more established in locations that we're at right now, yeah, it's been really cool, man.
And I can even see because it seems like I guess back when sound like the old head now. Back when we were coming up, I don't recall flag football being this big of a thing, but now, man, it's like such a big thing, even for like the college athletes. So, man, it seems like I can see a situation where you have on maybe over the summer, maybe a couple weeks, you having flag football tournaments that are for the collegiate athletes across the country, which I think can also take it to another level. In addition to, like you said, the adults or
Mhm.
even the high school students, middle school students. Well, it seems like it's a man that's
It's real massive. I think where what's so massive about it right now is that obviously it just got announced in 2028 with the Olympics.
oh yeah, with the flag
With the
football in
flag
the Olympics
football
now.
starting to be in Olympics, and so I think that's what we're going to start to see is the trickle down effect. Meaning, will do like you can train and you can go to these things and qualify and have a chance to actually play and represent in the Olympic team in the real Olympics. There's also they have like the juniors and all that stuff, but to actually be, you know what I mean, to be in the Olympics and represent, which I think is going to be really really cool. And that's like I said, one of the reasons why we were super excited to partner with USA Football,
Sure.
for kids from this state and any other state to go and represent our country against the other countries out there.
And I didn't even I forgot all about that. The
Mhm,
Olympics were doing the flag
mhm.
football, and so I guess in how often do you guys hold these tournaments? Because
Yeah,
I'm thinking this can be something as you're competing for the Olympics, you're trying to compete against, keep the skills sharp or whatever,
yeah.
to get prepared in preparation for the Olympics that you can, play in these flag football leagues to try to keep your skills sharp. Well, how often do you guys hold these tournaments? Is it maybe a couple times a year or is it every quarter? Like, how does that
Yes,
work?
yeah. It is 5 or 6 times throughout the year. There are regional events. So you have to obviously win in your region, right, to move on
Okay. Yep.
to where you get what I think what we're kind of calling like a super regional. That's kind of held somewhere in the middle of the country. I guess you could say, but and then from those super regionals, right, you get a chance, hopefully to represent. But and then the leagues, though the statewide leagues, they're all over the country. Like for with Gridiron, excuse me, we're partnered with them. We represent the state of Michigan.
Okay.
And then there's obviously like Ohio, you know what I mean? But so like again, though, that's why you do the regional. So you get the best of the Midwest, the best of the East Coast, you know what I mean? Everything else, the West, all that stuff, North and South. So you get the best of those teams. Then they go to the regional, then do the super, and then obviously from there we're going to pick the best of the best to represent us. So, but super proud. We have 2 kids represented out of our camp that
Nice.
will be representing the Junior Olympics in the 17U division or 18U division out of our camp. So yeah, man, super cool. I'm pumped about it. And to your point, it wasn't it wasn't it wasn't hyped when we were kids about flag. It was either tackle or nothing. This is just another opportunity for all those kids that may not be with tackle,
Right.
but they can run, they can catch, right, and they can throw. So that's pretty much what flag is. I mean, and just all out hustle on defense and pulling flags. But yeah, man, I mean, when you can do that, man, and space too. I mean, that's the hard part. I think people forget when they see flag is that you're doing this all in space. Like there's obviously there shouldn't be any tackling. I don't think there's any tackling out there. I know some different leagues out there that have different rules, but with no tackling or blocking and you're operating in space, it's actually really tough because people with the ball in their hand, ball carriers are very creative. How they move their hips and how they're able to sink their hips and turn at the right time is it's hard, for a defender. And then flip side of the coin, defenders don't have anybody blocking them, so they're running to the ball scot free, man. They're hunting you down, so it's really cool to watch that unfold. Especially like I said, I started at pre-KK. Like I said, we got kids now representing us in the Olympics, now Virginia Olympics.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. And I guess I know kind of just running short on time. I wanted to kind of
Yeah.
get your thoughts about this because again, most of us we dream of hey being in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah.
Not even talking about our school or our
Mhm.
high school or whatever the case may be, but just being inducted into the Hall of Fame at Michigan State University
Yeah.
and all your efforts, all your hard work, all your accomplishments pay you off because again, you can be good and go on and have a nice NFL career
Mhm.
or a CFL career or no, just have a good playing career and still that doesn't culminate into a Hall of Fame career, especially at a major university such as Michigan State. So with you being able to kind of reach that milestone, number one, how did you find out?
Mhm.
And then I mean, I picture like the NFL where they come knock on your door like, hey, Hall of Fame member. I'm
Yeah.
not sure it's like that in college, but how did you find out? Then what does that mean to you to be being forever enshrined in Michigan State? I guess a lore in terms of
Yeah.
a Hall of Fame,
Mhm.
no, a Hall of Fame man, that's gonna last forever. Your kids get a chance to see it
Yeah.
over there. They get your name and
I was actually training one of my linebackers when I found out in the summer uh, before the season started. Alan Howlard called me, um, and I was also working on another company as well too, and introducing that to Michigan State. So I thought it was my point being, I thought it was about that, and so I was excited, or nervous, a little bit nervous too, because I was waiting for a yes or a
for
no.
sure.
And so it wasn't about that. And then, he's like, hey, I just want to let you know, it was pretty much a unanimous vote. Um, you were, I think I was a second, second, second ballot. Our first, I don't know. I still haven't gotten the feedback on that. The first, second ballot, um, selection into the Hall of Fame. And, I was very emotional, man, because I was more excited that my parents could be there. And it's weird to say it's but almost a little bit more than the kids, just because the kids, right, didn't see the journey and the process and the late nights and the early mornings and the training and, all the going battling through injuries and, what I mean, the recruiting process, right? My parents got to see all of that stuff. So I was very emotional for that. That meant a lot, you know what I mean? And it ended up being um my mom's last time that we got to see each other before she passed. So that was super, looking back on it's almost surreal that like it all worked out. Um Getting to have Diddy come and do the shoot every step of the way that weekend was amazing. And then the class we got inducted with Draymond and the crew and Kalisha and just all these like amazing people that we kind of in so many words like kind of grew up with. You know what I mean? Like I remember, me and Dre like stopping at Wendy's to, you know what I mean? Because that's all we had. Like you didn't have, you know what I mean? That was it. And so, now, obviously he's having, I mean, the most amazing career right now. So I say that because it's just an honor to be in that class. And, and then on the day of, having like Mateen come up, and Coach D was there, and Coach Izzo was in the crowd, and just all these great people, all of our sponsors and people that have funded, helped fund the program and sacrificed and did everything they could to get to this point. It was a um, true honor. So I'm very honored by that, and I think too having so many of my teammates be around, and even like yourself, it was just an honor because I didn't feel, even now when I get like those type of things, when you have, yeah, defense has 11 people in the field, but a practice has all hundred
Yeah,
something
sure.
dudes,
Absolutely.
right? Like hustling. So, and that environment creates, right? Like, whatever we put out on the field on Saturday and that product on Saturday. So I've never felt like an award was like that, like totally by you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for
By
sure. It's
myself.
collective.
It's always been collective, and I'm pretty confident in my speech. I thanked everybody. Thank you. You know what I mean? Because it's not like a word you get and you just like, oh yeah, man, I did this by myself. Like it's not archery. You know what I mean? Like it's just not tennis or golf. Like this is a community. And the mold was even then, even this now, it's always next man up.
Yep.
So, and that's why I said, like, when we were talking earlier, we're still, even though that happened, and I was always in my mind thinking, like, they just brought in Max Bullock. They just brought in Tyquan Hammond. They about to bring in, you know what I mean? Shane,
Yeah.
they're bringing in cats, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Whether they want to admit it or not, but they're bringing in guys to take your spot. And so there was always some motivation or a little bit of fear too. But I would say anything just motivated to like do that and be a leader on the field and off the field. So yeah, to answer your question a long way, yeah, it's truly amazing. It's so surreal. I'm just, like I said before, I'm just more excited that I got to have my wife and my 3 kids, my 2 parents, all there, all of our family with Spartan Dog Nation, most of Spartan Dog Nation be there, and we got a win on that day. Thank God. I forgot already. We play Akron. We got a win against Akron, which is ironically my first Division I offer going into my junior year too. So with the Akron, my first offer. But yeah, man, it was a great moment.
I look at you and probably Kirk Cousins in terms of obviously you guys superstars then and went on to do
Yeah.
great things in the NFL and man, you guys were two, like, think of, okay, somebody who's level headed and just a good person to be around. Sometimes you get the prima donnas as superstar players and things like that. You guys were two people who are always humbled and kind of did things the right way. And regardless if you were number one guy on the team down to the last person, you guys always made everybody feel part of the team. And you know, you guys even vouched for you and Kurt and Diddy, vouched for me when I was being pulled into some stuff, into some stuff that I wasn't a part of, and vouched for me. And like I wasn't no starting running back or anything like that, but you guys did that, and you guys didn't have to do that. So I always appreciate you guys for that.
Of course.
I want to get you out of here on this, and in terms of getting your thoughts. We started this thing talking about the NIL, and
Yeah.
I want to kind of close out just with some final words, any last minute words that you have to the up and coming high school students, student athletes, or collegiate student athletes as it relates to NIL and the opportunity that this thing presents. Not just to, like I said, ride around campus in nice cars and go buy jewelry and things like that to show off, but how this thing can really help you out long term, way after your playing days are over with. Can you give those athletes, student athletes, something to think about from that standpoint? Is just some final words as it relates to, hey, in terms of taking it serious or whatever you want to say as far as this NIL and maybe what they should kind of be on the lookout for, or just what they should at least consider as they're going through the process.
Yeah, man. I've gotten this before. So one, you're always being watched. This is not a time and day where you get away with a lot and think that like nobody wants to see. You're always being watched. Two, if getting ready for a game or even a practice, if it was somebody's first time watching you, what would you want that to be like? Will you be remembered or will you be forgotten? And I say that to your point of if I'm a Zuckerberg or anywhere in there, I'm like that. I'm looking for a kid to represent my company. Like, will you, when I watch you, is that going to be something I'm really proud about? And they don't just, and again, going back to the first point, not just like watch you on the field. I've heard it from so many coaches, so many guys that we played with that are now coaching, like Javon and Max and Arthur Ray. Gee, I just don't watch them. I watch them go off the field. I watch them, and they like you're always being watched. And so when somebody sees the interaction, like what do you want that to look like um, as you go through your journey? And then also too, like don't just do it for the money. I know it's super cliche, but if it's so transactional, it was only for the money. There's a lot of things we could be doing, right, without going out there and risking. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, because it's a car wreck, and no matter what position you play, kicker, all of it, like it's a big risk, and so it's a big gamble, a big bet that you're making on yourself. So, working with so many young athletes, like they only like, man, like how much money you were, all this stuff. But for me, like, and one of the things I just want to tell these young guys is that, like, I was just happy to like say I'm in the same league as Michael Vick we grew up watching, and the Ray Lewises, and you know what I mean, all these guys. I'm like, dude, I'm in the best of the best, and I think still have that passion, but don't get it misconstrued. You know what I mean? Yeah, for sure, you're out there about your business, but if you don't have the passion, you will give up when it gets hard if it's only about the money. Because what I've seen a lot of guys do is that it got hard, so then they went and got a job, and now that job is more important than what they got the scholarship for. You know what I mean? So like that's tough. Because I had a kid a couple of years ago, had a full ride scholarship. It got tough, got a job, started making money, excuse me, and now, right now, he does not have a scholarship anymore. He has a job, not a career. He has a job, even though he's real smart. He will have a career one day. But I'm like, dude, like you could have done both. You know what I mean? And you stopped yourself short. I mean, he quit 2 weeks in the training camp. You know, and so he's crazy. And so those are some of the words I would leave to any high school kid out there. I think it's very relevant though, man, relevant to them because that love and that passion for the game is what got me to where I'm at. Like, and I get that asked a lot, like how, like, dude, I love ball. Like I probably, I tell people all the time, had I not messed up my leg, I probably still be trying to
Yeah,
play
yeah, for sure.
right now. You know what I mean? But I think that's what, as it worked out, I'm here and the purpose is starting to come more clear each and every day. But yeah, man, like I see a lot of kids and they're so quick to ask me about money, but they never ask me about the passion. Not never, but few ask me about the passion. And it's like, dang, bro, like if you can just understand, because, like, dude, you can go get a job like for the same, you know what I mean? And work and climb and climb the ladder and do all that stuff. But I'm like, you can't go back and be 21 and be playing for Michigan State and be the man and, you know what I mean? And having all those dreams come true that you started at 8 years old, and so that's why I try to tell a lot of kids, like, bro, like, you really got to lock into that passion while you're here. And it'll come. All that other stuff will come. And you just don't be all about NIL because the first thing you do is start looking at other people's plates. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
you got your own food to eat. I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. No, and I like that. And I'll just add to that. Hey, man, at the end of the day, and this is, again, part of the podcast is you are a brand, not only on the field, but off the field. Long after your football days are over with, you're still going to be a brand and carry yourself as a brand. And so just always remember that as well. So, man, I appreciate you doing this. And I appreciate to be able to call you a friend.
Always, brother, forever.
And I'm looking forward to the things that we do together forward.
Sir.
And I appreciate you again.
I appreciate you having me, man. Thank you.
Definitely. Well, until next time, we're out. Take care.
Peace.